or I know kind of how to undersell or oversell. So that was immediately what I was attracted to in Lewis, was the fact that he's such a brilliant businessman. And again, he just had this idea that, he was looking at the FAA regulations for drones, and he's like, well, I don't have to control the drone, I just have to control the person controlling the drone. And he was fascinated about live streaming from drones, and then he kind of realized pretty quickly into it that he's like, well, what if we don't use drones? What if we just use our smartphones? And like, how does kind of that work, and live streaming from there? So initially the product was going to be a B2C product. He thought, people would want to see, like, someone outside of their house, if your girlfriend's cheating on you or anything like that, it was going to be Uber for live video. And then he's like, wait a minute, this is going to open up way too many doors that probably shouldn't be opened. So then he started doing some research on insurance, and he's like, well, 1/5 of 1% makes us a $100 million company. So that was a super attractive figure for someone who's so, brilliant with numbers and making money.
Okay. Is he still involved? There was a change recently?
Yes, we have a new CEO. He came on board October, summerish of last year. And Emilio, he spent 25 years in the industry. I pushed so hard, actually, because I'm not normally the one that does these talks and whatnot. It's either like Lewis or or Emilio. Mm-hmm. So I pushed really hard for him to be here. But anyway,
he's supposed to be in New York now, no?
Yeah, he's traveling all over the place. He was in, I know, San Francisco previously. He's going back to England. So the company's doing really well. But yeah, he has the 25 years of insurance background. He sort of speaks the language. He understands all the acronyms that, like, when I'm having conversations, I listen and I'm like, oh my God, I have to Google this afterwards. And like, now I can speak the jargon 3 years in, but it was like literally learning another language.
Okay, I think that we should stop here and explain what's DropIn all about. Because with the drones, with the yacht, and with the 12 years in prison, was it?
Yeah, it was, again, a story super fascinating.
Never mind, yeah, different story. Yeah. What's DropIn?
So DropIn is, we're a live video platform, and we digitize the claims process from start to finish. Technically underwriting as well, but basically instead of having to send an adjuster out for, let's say, $600, $800, we're able to do it for $15, all in a matter of seconds from your phone. So, and then we also have, like, our AR capability allows you to take measurements, and so you can literally digitize the claim from start to finish, but also, too, we're integrating AI technology that no one knows yet because we haven't announced it. So, so we're about to do that as well. But it's super interesting the way that they're doing it, like, because, and I thought this was so fascinating, it was Emilio that actually brought this up. He's like, the AI capability isn't about catching a thief, so to speak, making false claims. It's about finding that person that's brutally honest, that's telling you exactly as it is, because the odds of them having another claim is only once every 7 years. So you want to take care of that person knowing that if you process their claim fast enough, they're going to be super loyal to you.
So basically, you are trying to leverage claims as a way to retain the customers.
Absolutely, because I mean, I think we've all been in that same boat. I've been in car accidents. I've lost everything. I had a cockroach infestation, so I had to deal with my, renter's insurance at that time. It's painful. You're going through a loss by definition, and in that moment, all you want is someone to be human and kind of empathize with you, to be like, I'm sorry you're having such a bad day, or like, let me get this taken care of for you, and actually mean it and do something about it. Then you totally win my business, hands down. I'm going to tell 10 of my best friends and get everybody else on board, too.
Do we have agents in the room today? No? Yes? No, you're not. Okay.
Yeah. So how does it work?
Broker.
You have the drone, and somebody goes to the house or the place.
Smartphones. Yeah, the drone capability actually, so it started with drones, and then we moved to cell phones, and then we wound up back in drones. But all it is you literally, the insurance adjuster logs into the platform, which we give them, access to and whatnot. It's only $15 a claim. They enter in the client's cell phone number, any sort of, description that they want, or anything in between. We don't keep any information on the client. We only have a reference number, so that protects everybody's security, and we're not, again, having information that we shouldn't have access to. The customers then sent the text message. They go live within a matter of seconds. It's geotagged, so you can actually see that this is occurring exactly where it says it's occurring. And if the person happens to be hard of hearing, we have chat capabilities, so you can actually chat back and forth. If it's low lighting, we have a flashlight option so that you can actually see. And yeah, but then the drone came back in when we started talking to the insurance companies, and they're like, well, what do we do for rooftop inspections? So, because they have to send a claims adjuster up to go and take care of the information for the claim, but then that's a liability for them. Like, how sharp is that roof? If there's obviously damage, like, could they be stepping on something and then fall into a hole themselves? So that's a huge undertaking for them. And so we wound up back in drones, but we're the only company that does this as well with less than 1 second latency. So we're truly live stream from a drone, which is really cool. We all kind of freaked out when we saw it live for the first time.
But who takes the drone?
The drone, it can be either, we have a fleet of Droperators, we call them, so we have 1,300 of them globally, or we have direct-to-drone capabilities, so much like you do with a text message, as long as the customer and or whoever wants the live stream, if they have a drone, you just send them a text message with their phone and they go live.
So you do home claims?
Yeah.
Auto claims?
Yeah, mostly P&C. See, I know what that means. That's so exciting.
Home and auto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Auto as well?
Mm-hmm.
And in your definition, adjustment means cutting a check or?
We don't cut the checks. No, all we do is basically, we're the facilitator that, again, digitizes that in terms of you don't need to send out an adjuster. So instead of the client being out, sometimes months for some of these claims, you can literally send them a quick text message and have them go live. And again, from start to finish, you can process it. Because of the AR capability that we have as well, you're able to take measurements in stream with over 99% accuracy, which is wild.
What happens if the people just don't want to report it?
If they don't want to report it?
Report it.
Well, I mean, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. Do they want their, claims processed? Then, that's entirely up to them. If they want it done faster, this is definitely a solution. If, for example, it's potentially someone who's older and, has a clam phone or things of that nature, that's where we have Droperators that can go and facilitate that. But if they want out from the process entirely, sure, that's good on them. We're not, we're not like leading people into submission to say you should use this, but it's kind of a common sense thing.
How do you make sure that they take the right picture?
Well, because it's all done live.
It's all
so you
done
have
live.
so you have the
who's operating
adjuster.
them in the adjuster, and where do they?
They're
see it?
directing, so they see it on the platform, which I'm happy to give demos and whatnot afterwards if you guys want to see the platform. But bottom line is the adjuster's seeing everything in real time live. So they're saying go left, go right, zoom in on this, because also too with other companies, I know that they have these options where it's like take these photos and upload them to an app, and it's like, well, that's a little blurry, maybe they didn't really capture this, so then it's the pain and the inconvenience of then having to go back and do the same thing again versus having a live stream of it. You snap a photo right there and you're good and you're done.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So who are your competitors?
For our competitors, WeGoLook technically, although they're considered more, I mean, they're not truly a tech product, but they had a phenomenal acquisition from Crawford, which is great, and we're really pumped for their success. And LiveGenic is probably the closest, Snapsheet is another, and yeah, but I mean, other than that, the second we announce our AI capabilities, that's kind of.
So where are you compared to WeGoLook and CCC?
Where are we in comparison? But again, that's the thing. So we're in implementation process.
Each one has a different dimension. Right?
Yeah, totally. And the second that we announce our AI capability, it's again, we're going to be an entirely different level. I don't even know who our competitors are going to be in the AI space, but that's going to be super interesting, and we're in implementation stage right now, which is really cool.
Oh my God, it's just segueing to positioning in the market. But
yeah.
Before we go there in branding, because CCC, they have like 80% of the market in terms of the claims and taking the pictures and turning that to a nice old school PDF that you can print if you
Absolutely.
like. And WeGoLook, they are doing an amazing job in terms of the gig economy and fetching.
Robin is a hustler. I really respect that woman. I've met her.
She's awesome.
Yeah, like she is a hustler, and she just. But also too, I mean, she's kind of like you can tell the mama bear.
She's originally from Oklahoma or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's where their offices are.
Yeah.
So our former COO and I went over there personally, and I just kind of watched her like take sort of control things, and like there was like the coffee pot needed to be turned off, and then we were running into this conference room, but she just like owned it. It was like she was like this magical woman that I just was captivated by.
She's very impressive, very tall, very.
Yeah.
There. But go back. So you're a little bit in terms of the various dimensions. You have a little bit of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
How did you manage to decide on that positioning and that value proposition?
In terms of our value prop, I mean, it was blind luck, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
no, that's fine. That's part of startups. It's all about luck.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, again, in terms of money, that was an easy decision for the founder because he's again very, very good at figuring those things out. And so the second that he saw the market share there, that was a no-brainer. But then for everything else, it was just kind of general feedback, and I think that's the most exciting part about startups for me personally. Is like I love when you can move fast. when you're so lean, and it's like, especially when you put smart people in a room and you like kind of brainstorm some ideas out and whatnot, it's like I feel like you can solve the majority of the world's problems pretty quickly when you're in that kind of environment. So we were able to move, faster than a lot of other people who had been in the space for almost a decade, and now we are where we are.
Okay, so what's your customer?
So we have a very large tier 1 customer that we just finished a proof of concept with, and then which they might actually be familiar to the surrounding. I'll just say that. And then we're actually just this past week we launched with a very large UK reseller, and so they actually secured us a very, very big client, and which is fascinating to me because they actually wanted to use the Droperators over there, which I thought was kind of interesting because they were like, we weren't sure the rate of adoption of people, the whole process of digitizing claims kind of made people a little nervous that it's like, well, I make my, $60,000 a year. Like, this is what I do, for a living. I get X amount of vacations. I get, this, that, and the other thing. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see how this plays out in terms of what adoption occurs faster and when.
Okay, so, and the only reason I asked that was because you like it to be agile, fast, and you can move.
Yeah.
And then you have your customers.
Exactly.
How was that process?
Oh, well, onboarding's been wonderful. Oh goodness. So basically anything that you guys have seen creatively for the company outside of our phenomenal website, we have a great web guy that did that. I've literally personally done. So all of our videos, any of the design, I had to learn design because we kept hiring so many different people and they were so expensive. And I would just look at it and I'm like, I can see it in my head, but I don't know how to make it like work. And I got so frustrated. So I wound up teaching myself animation and teaching myself design in the process, which was, I don't even know why I taught myself animation other than I just thought it'd be kind of cool and I'm already down a rabbit hole. So yeah, but it's been interesting, but I feel like a lifelong learner in general. Mm-hmm. So it was so cool and such a proud moment to like now watch these people use your product and be like, okay, well, we'd watch all the videos afterwards because we, have access to the back end and whatnot. And we would just watch some of the videos to see like what, they were taking away from it. And I was like, oh, this kind of is fascinating. Like, wow, like it was just watching something that you breathed into life for so long actually take its first steps. It was a really cool life experience.
Sure. So how did it help? Well, I was about to ask about targeting of customers, but basically, if we're talking about, I've seen you operating within ITC and manning that booth. ITC, InsurTech Connect in Vegas, one in a year. This will be the third year.
Yeah.
Third year. Jay and Caribou are managing that. And she was standing there, everyone talking to her, and she's like super energetic. I said, I'll catch her in LA. That's fine. I will not even bother. Now, while I stole a little bit of time,
yes.
Let me remember what I was about to ask you about. Well, you deal with the customers. We talked about different. So who's next? And what, I would say, let's say different. What is the brand that you're trying to have and to build in order to reach your second, third, and fourth customer?
Yeah, so obviously now, it's going to be super interesting. This is kind of as a company our microphone drop, and I know I keep referencing it, but our AI technology is going to be awesome. So I'm actually more curious for that. It was like, again, having something that you breathe life into take its first steps. But now it's like Fred Astaire tap dancing. So I can't even imagine what this is going to be like. And just even watching some of it in general, like the first time that we, had our in-office demo with this, capabilities, it was just like, whoa, like this is the future. So now it's that moment where it gives you the goosebumps. I don't even know. Obviously, this fits for insurance, but it just opens us up to a completely wider audience that, you're able to literally look at a video and tell based upon, certain facial cues and voice recognition whether or not someone's lying, which is kind of interesting. So I won't put myself behind the camera for that at all.